I want to be very clear about something before I start. I am not a superstitious person. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't watch horror movies. I don't read scary books. Oh, yeah, because, and I have never in my life told a story like this one, but I also can't explain what happened to me last October in a small cabin outside of Asheville, North Carolina. And I've tried. God, I have tried. So, I'm just going to tell you what happened, exactly as it happened, and you can decide what to do with it. It was supposed to be a solo trip, a reset. I'd just gone through a bad breakup. I was burned out from work, and my therapist, actual quote, said, "You need to physically remove yourself from your environment." So I booked a cabin, 4 nights, middle of October, deep in the Blue Ridge Mountains. The listing looked beautiful. Wood-burning fireplace, wraparound porch, no Wi-Fi. Exactly what I needed. The drive up was stunning. That winding road through the trees, everything orange and red and gold. I remember thinking, this is exactly right. This is going to fix me. The lockbox code worked. The cabin was clean. The fireplace was already stocked with wood. I poured myself a glass of wine, sat on the porch, and watched the sun go down over the mountains. For about 2 hours, everything was perfect. Then I started unpacking. I always do a sweep of a place when I check in. Old habit. I check under the beds, open the closets, make sure there's nothing weird. I'm not paranoid. It's just something I do. The cabin had 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, a small living area, and a little reading nook built into the corner by the window. Bookshelves on both sides, a window seat with a cushion. On the lowest shelf, tucked behind a row of old paperbacks, was a journal. Small, brown leather cover, no name on the outside. I almost put it back. I really almost did. The first few entries were completely normal. A woman, she never gave her name, just signed each entry with the initial M, writing about her stay at the cabin. Nature observations, what she cooked for dinner, how the silence was helping her think. Her writing was beautiful, actually, precise and calm. She was clearly educated, thoughtful. The entries started in early September, about 6 weeks before my trip. By the third entry, something had shifted. She wrote about hearing sounds at night, footsteps on the porch. She assumed it was deer. The listing had mentioned wildlife in the area, but the footsteps were slow, deliberate, and they stopped directly outside her bedroom window every time. I told myself, okay, this is someone's creative writing exercise, a horror story they were drafting. People do that. But the details were too specific. She wrote about the lockbox code, the same 4 digits I'd used to get in. She described the exact chipped mug she used for her morning coffee, the same mug that was sitting on my kitchen counter right now. I kept reading. By entry 7, she had stopped going outside after dark. She wrote about a figure she'd seen at the tree line, just standing there, watching the cabin. She said she'd tried to take a photo, but her phone died instantly, full battery to 0 in 1 second, every time she pointed it toward the trees. Entry 9. I think it knows I can see it. It came closer last night. I could hear it breathing outside the window. I have 3 more days here. I don't know if I should leave. Entry 10. I decided to stay. I don't know why. Something won't let me go. I flipped to the last entry. My hands were shaking by this point. The wine was untouched. The last entry was dated October 14th. I had checked in on October 14th. It said only 4 words. It's inside with me. I told myself it was a prank, a prop left by the owners to spook guests. Cabins do stuff like that. Lean into the creepy aesthetic, make it memorable. I put the journal down. I locked the front door, which I realized I hadn't done when I arrived. I checked the windows, all latched. I got into bed at 10 p.m. with every light in the cabin on. At 12:47 a.m., I woke up to the sound of footsteps on the porch. Slow, deliberate, moving from the front of the cabin toward the side, toward my bedroom window. And then they stopped. Right outside my window. I didn't move. I lay completely still with the blanket pulled up, and I stared at the ceiling, and I counted my own heartbeats because it was the only thing I could control. After maybe 3 minutes, the footsteps started again, moving away, back toward the tree line, then silence. I picked up my phone to call someone, anyone, and watched the battery drop from 74% to 0 in less than 4 seconds. I did not sleep. I sat in the corner of the bedroom with my back against the wall, and I waited for sunrise. The moment there was enough light, I went outside. There was frost on the porch. First frost of the season, a thin white layer over the wooden boards. And there were footprints. Not animal prints, not deer, not bear, footprints. Bare human feet, large, walking slowly from the tree line to the cabin, along the sidewall, stopping directly below my bedroom window. And then, nothing. No prints walking away, no prints turning around. They just stopped, like whatever made them had simply ceased to exist at that spot. I took photos on my phone. It had somehow charged overnight, even though it was unplugged. The photos came out. I have them. I've looked at them hundreds of times. I packed my bag in 11 minutes. I left the journal on the kitchen table, and as I pulled out of the driveway, I looked in my rear-view mirror. At the tree line, half hidden by shadow, something was standing there, watching me leave. I reported it to Airbnb. They refunded me and said they'd look into it. I never heard back. I tried to find him. I searched for missing persons reports around Asheville from September and October. I found nothing definitive, but I found a small local news article from mid-October about a woman whose car was found parked on a mountain road outside the city. No signs of struggle. She was just gone. The article didn't give her full name. It gave her initial. M. M. I have not been able to find that cabin listing since. I searched the exact address. Nothing. I searched the photos I'd saved from the listing. Reverse image search, nothing. It's like it was scrubbed clean. I still have the photos of the footprints on my phone. Sometimes, late at night, I scroll to them. I zoom in on that space where the prints just end, and I think about M's last words. It's inside with me. And then I put my phone down, and I check the locks. And I try very hard not to think about what was standing at that tree line, watching me drive away, or whether it was watching me, or whether it was making sure I left, because it was done with me. If you made it to the end, you're braver than I was writing this. Drop a comment. I read every single one. Subscribe if you want more. I post every week, and maybe sleep with the lights on tonight.